Hey, Mizzou fans, welcome back here, powermizzou.com on YouTube. This is Gabe DeArmond. Little special edition. We're going to try to do this with a few different players over the next days, weeks, whatever it might be. But season just wrapped up. We've got some guys on their way out that have finished up at Mizzou. We want to do a little exit interview, give you guys a chance to maybe hear from some of the Missouri Tigers that you haven't gotten to hear from as much or haven't gotten to know maybe as well as you would have liked over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long they've been here. So we're going to try to catch up with some of them on the way out the door when we're actually allowed to talk to them and nobody can tell us we're not allowed to. So Connor Tollison, the first guy joining us here in what we hope kind of becomes a series. But Connor, how you doing, man? Appreciate you taking a minute.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
So what have you been doing since the season ended? You've had about a month. I know you played in an all-star game, but kind of day to day, what's life like now?
Yeah, so we played the bowl game, I think was the 27th.
Mhm.
So back to Columbia that Sunday, I drove up here to Minnesota the 28th and really started that Monday the 29th. I'm working up here at a training house up here in Eagan, Minnesota. Just working out, getting ready for pro day.
Okay, how'd you kind of pick where you were going to go and who are you working with up there?
Really working with my agent. He got me set up. It's Eric Perkins and then Lewis Kidd and Alex Boone. They do brute O line. So I'm kind of at a more you could say, oh, not necessarily O line specific, but there's been guys that have come through. They trained Joe Ald a few years ago, and quite a few guys last year. So
Okay, so I mean, football's kind of been a full-time job for you for the last
Mhm.
5 years, if we're being honest. But now it is, got to worry about class, anything. How much you working out a day, and what kind of stuff are you doing?
So normal day to day is like get there about 7:30, or get there about 7:15. We start at 7:30. 7:30 to about 9ish is like your pro day combine drills, you could say. It's like the 5-10-5, L drill 40. And then from about 9:15 to 10:30 is like O line specific drills, pass sets, run blocking. And then from about 10:30 to 12 is a break, so get another meal in, and then from about 12 to 1:30 you get a good lift in, and then some days we'll sit around and watch film as a group. Some days we're free after, so it could be anywhere from 7:30 to 1:30, 7:30 to 4:30.
Okay. Okay. So I gotta ask this one. I gotta get this out of the way, and then we're gonna go kind of way back to the beginning. So I know you played in an all-star game, and there are these screenshots of everybody
Yeah.
wearing different logos on the helmet. You got to tell me what happened there, man.
So what was it? I guess the like Wednesday you finished, or Tuesday we had like our third padded practice. We were done with that, so everybody was in the locker room, and the guy on my team, other center on my team, was the center from Kansas, and like we are in the same recruiting class. We both did 5 years, and I just thought it would be funny, and Twitter had interesting reaction to that, and then I did a little bit of trolling, rage baiting, and I don't really think they picked up on that, but on there probably are a little outdated. So yeah, I thought it was quite
So
hilarious.
did the KU guy have the Mizzou logo on his helmet
Yeah,
too?
he had a whole bunch of logos, everybody, but I had given him the block M off of my helmet. So
Okay. Okay. And I know Twitter takes things seriously sometimes, but hey, man, I'm not sure, especially now with everybody moving around so many different places. Like, you guys know people on every different team, and
yeah,
is that really that big a deal to guys that play?
for me, I didn't, like the guys I've spoken with, I played with, we all thought the reactions from Twitter were quite funny. Nobody had anything bad to say that I spoken to, and I just thought it was hysterical to see people get so upset about it. Like, ultimately won the football game, and that's what really matters.
There you go. There you go. So, all right, I want to go back to kind of the very beginning, back when you were in Jackson, and Look, you were a pretty highly recruited guy. Had a lot of offers. Could have gone a number of places. I'm curious, knowing what you know now, like what would you have told 16-year-old Connor Tollison
Mhm.
about going through this process?
Um, you don't be like nervous or scared to like ask the coaches like real questions, like,
Mhm.
hey, where do you see me at? Like, do you actually see me, somebody to be able to like come in and compete early or not, nowadays like kids got to talk about NIL that hadn't started yet. So I guess, that would be something too, like be upfront and honest, like what is, my NIL gonna look like? Obviously that's a part of the game now. So and then I just be like, understand that, you're gonna work with the coaches and the coaches are gonna work with you. So like don't be afraid to have a personal relationship with them.
So you signed in the class of 2021. I think you moved to Columbia like in June of 2021, and NIL officially started that July. So,
Mhm.
like, was that something that coaches were kind of talking to you guys about that you guys really had any understanding of before then, or not?
No, so I had signed December and then I early enrolled, so I got there in January of
Okay.
2021. And so, I did spring ball and whatnot, and it definitely wasn't anything in the recruiting process that they talked about. I don't know necessarily how much they believed it would maybe get passed. I don't know. Um, but no, it was no conversations in the recruiting process. But, when it got passed there in the summer, we had a few big meetings talking about what you can and can't do and, what it would look like. And it was nothing about, quite how it is today, but it was definitely something then.
Give me kind of the good and the bad of it. I mean, obviously, hey, it's great. You guys are part of something that makes millions of dollars, and I think most people understand you deserve some of the money. But how much did that all change what being a college football player is while the time you were in school?
Yeah, so I think you see the biggest problem is so, as a player for Mizzou, I'm gonna re-sign with Mizzou. Mizzou's gonna sign me for we'll just say $100,000 as an example. Well, if they're gonna go to the transfer portal, that same $100,000 isn't gonna get them the player, like maybe the same player. So you're gonna have to spend a little bit money, and that's where you see, these locker room problems or players not understanding why somebody might make more than them, why they might make less than a player, So I always thought, like when you hit the portal, you kind of have that leverage, to
Mhm.
get more money. So that's where I think you're seeing things nowadays is not everybody understands that. You're seeing guys, hit the portal every year, to kind of have that leverage again to negotiate and maybe bump their offer up a little bit more from what it would be if you were to just stay and resign at the school you've been at.
So you and Dalen, you signed with 23 other guys in that class.
Mhm.
You and Dalen Carnell are the only two that made
Right.
it through all 5 years here. I, First of all, like, is that something that you two took a lot of pride in that you were here the whole time?
Yeah, I think we did, we always joked like last one standing, there was I think Logan Lucky, Tommy Locke, were two walk-ons that made it, ended up being on scholarship. But yeah, I think the two of us were the only scholarship guys from our recruiting class that made it. And, I think it both played well. We, had playing time early. I think we both liked where we are. We were in good position. So, I think it kind of naturally happened. But yeah, I think he took a little pride in that.
Was there any? I mean, you can tell me as much or as little as you want, but I understand like every offseason, man, guys are getting calls and all that.
Mm.
Was there ever a time where you thought about, hey, maybe I should look around a little bit. Maybe I could use some of this leverage.
Nah, honestly, the only time I really thought about transferring was like my freshman year there. I was like, "Sure, I don't know if this is meant for me. Like, I don't play in the SEC. I was like, I might just have to transfer back home and play at SEMO. No disrespect to them, but you know, that was the only honest time I ever thought about transferring. Obviously, I got to play more. I just kind of liked where I was at. It was close to home. Coach Jones came in. I felt like I got a really good relationship with Coach Jones. So, it was never really a position for me to leave.
So what was kind of that moment for you of like, hey man, this is big boy football. We're not back at Jackson High School anymore.
Yeah, honestly, it was that spring ball. I mean, like, the first day at practice, like, we did the fastbacks, and then they're like, everybody just took off in directions, and I had no idea where I was going. I was just looking around like, "Holy shit, like, what is going on?" So, yeah, that was honestly the moment. I would say like that welcome to college football moment. I don't know. There had to be some drill where or one-on-one that I probably got put on my butt, and it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have to step my game up a little bit. But yeah, it was really that first spring ball practice when everything got moving. It's to see how fast it was. I was like, I don't even know what is going on right now. But obviously, as time went on, you catch up. So
Yeah, you settled in pretty quick. I mean, I'm not sure how many people remember 2022. You're a redshirt freshman. You started every single game.
yeah.
And started I think the next 35. So how long did it take you to feel comfortable, like you did belong?
That fall camp, 21, I got moved to center. So that was obviously new. I felt comfortable, like obviously practice wise, like I was like I knew what I was doing, know where to go. I would really say it was that spring ball 22. I felt like having another like little winter, to get stronger and whatnot. Watch more film. You kind of just grow up too, a little bit. You're not
Mhm.
as much a kid anymore. I felt more comfortable. I would really say it was probably like that 23 years where I was like, okay, like even in 22 when I was playing, there was times where I was like, oh, this is tough. Like things weren't always going anybody's way in 2022, but it was really 2023 when I started to feel comfortable and like, okay, I think I'm meant to be in the SEC. I think I can play here.
That was the year it kind of clicked for all you guys. I mean, it. I know it's easy to say, "Hey, nobody believed in us" and all that, but nobody saw that coming from you guys from the outside. Did you
No,
guys see it coming?
I mean, in the moment, you're just playing like I tell you, like obviously beating K State on that. Like if you don't
Mhm,
beat K State there, like you know, Luke Bauer threw that fake punt versus Kentucky. Like if we don't complete that, we're down like 14-0. So I was talking to Eli, a few days ago, and I talked about, how the ball just kind of bounced our way a little bit that year. Like,
mhm.
sometimes you do need some luck, and maybe luck went our way that year a little bit.
Is there one game or one kind of moment from that year that stuck with you more than the rest of them?
I mean, 23 was just such a crazy, or the K State game in 23 was so crazy just to see a field rush, to be a part of that. I want to say that one because it kind of ignited, the season, but obviously to like beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, New Year's Six, like the level of opponent that we beat, I thought was, impressive. And probably those two were probably the most memorable games from that year.
Yeah, you go then hey, you started the first 9 games in 24, 35 in a row, and then the knee happens. Like, had you ever been through anything like that in your career?
No, honestly, I had, thanks God I hadn't really been hurt too much,
Mhm.
rolled in bumps and bruises, but no, I hadn't had any real injury that kept me away from playing up until that point.
So, how long I mean, did you feel like because you got hurt and we didn't really think about it, but I mean, fall camp was like 9.5 months later, man. Like,
Yeah,
do you feel like you were 100% ready to go this year? Or was it a little bit getting back?
it was tough. It was like probably the third day of fall camp. Like maybe it's like the end of the first fall camp week. I actually got rolled up on and had like a high ankle, so I missed like a few probably 4 or 5 days, and then kind of practiced through it. Probably not at more than 70%. Just trying to, this year we were trying to piece in some guys on the O line, so trying to get that practice. So I felt like my knee was healthy, and then kind of had that ankle. It was a little rough start, but yeah, I would say I was pretty healthy, through this year and to get going.
Mhm. So the one thing I wanted to ask you about this season more than anything else, I just went to look at the video again to make sure. So Zion Young's coin toss performance at Auburn. I'm not sure how many people watched the whole video, but like you're basically standing right next to him during that whole thing.
Yeah, like you don't see me.
Just take me through it.
You don't see me because the camera's in front of my face and like Zion's right to the left of me. But obviously, like we win the toss, so you want to start on defense. So like he as soon as it's like Mizzou wins, he just yeah, let's go. He's going crazy. And like those Auburn guys, like they tried to start chirping back at the end, but I don't even think they knew what was going on. I was kind of do we talk shit at the coin toss? Like I don't know if this is how it works. But I was about it. I was like, yeah, let's go. It was definitely interesting at first, but I mean, if you know Zion, like that's nothing new for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say you played with a lot of guys. Like, did you play with anybody that you would say talked more trash than he does?
Oh, maybe one of those corners, a few, maybe Ennis. I don't know how much shit, but no, Zion was probably up there with one of the most.
And well, and he's backing it up. I know he was out
Yeah.
at the Senior Bowl, had a big week. So, how much are all you guys, Chris, everybody, kind of keeping in touch leading up through this process of getting ready for April?
Yeah, I haven't really talked to too many other guys that are, in their process, kind of letting them be. But obviously, keeping up on Twitter, seeing everybody I know, all of them. Honestly, it looks like I've had a really good week at the Senior Bowl. Kevin Coleman had a great
Mhm.
catch, it looked like the other day. Zion's doing his thing. I seen a few plays of Chris making some tackles in the backfield, which is like nothing surprising, honestly, after practicing with those guys for years.
Right. So, what are kind of your goals and hopes here for the next 2 or 3 months leading up to the draft in April?
Yeah, just put on some weight, be between 290, 295 for pro day. You know, just upper body strength, a place to look for on the bench, and then ultimately just trying to, run as fast as possible. I don't really have a necessarily a goal in mind. I think athleticism is a good trait I possess. So just trying to, show that as much as possible at the pro day would be my goal.
Has it kind of, maybe there was a moment it hit you, or maybe it'll come, but like this is kind of what you've worked your whole life to get to, right? And now
Yeah.
that you're kind of here, has that hit you at all?
Nah, I honestly try to just take in the moment, like even playing these last couple years, like, oh, this might be my third year starting, this be my fourth year. Like I always just try to live in the moment, like take it game by game. And you know, uh, like you said, this is a goal. So, you kind of not expected to be in this position, but hope to be in this position. So now that you're here, you're just trying to maximize the most and don't let it slip away.
So we had asked some of the people on our message board, if you could ask some of these guys some things, what would you want to know? So I'm just going to throw a couple of them at you. We talked about Zion talking shit, but
Mhm.
it, tell me, like, how much do you hear from the defensive line during a game, or are you just kind of so zoned in that you might not hear what those guys are saying?
I mean, it kind of depends, I don't think we necessarily on the O line really talked a lot, so I don't think there was really ever a lot for a defense, to talk. I think I don't know. I think it's put, kind of situationally. Like I would say maybe in like 23 when we were better, more people were talking, like defensive lines were talking. I honestly didn't feel like we had a lot of shit talking this year, but I don't know if that necessarily goes on in the game maybe as much as people think.
Yeah.
Like it's more of a practice thing in my opinion.
Right. You got to save the stamina in the game.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your favorite thing about Mizzou, like just as a student, not as a college football player? What were some of your favorite things around town or around campus?
Mm. I mean, the easy answer would just be to say the bar, but that's kind of a crazy a crazy sense. Earlier in my years, I would say I went out. These last two, I kind of grew up a little bit matured. I didn't go out as much. Some of us guys would like to make a 30-minute trip out to Boonville and go to Al Capri Casino. Was a
Okay.
nice little thing we would do during the season. So Yeah, I'd say my favorite place might have been in Boonville.
There you go. Well done. I'm sure it's I'm sure everything's above board and perfectly legal there. Hey, what about places to eat, man? What's your go-to meal in Columbia?
Mm. I think the best place is just CC Broiler. Now it's a little
Yeah.
expensive, so didn't eat there a lot. But my favorite Mexican restaurant is it's like right across the street, La Terraza. Might be
Okay.
a lot of people might not know about it, but it's pretty good. That's probably my favorite place to eat in Columbia.
Where was like the O line meal? I'm sure you guys all had a night
Yeah,
that you all went somewhere.
Thursdays, we would make it to G&D Pizzeria. We would go. This year, the O line Ahmad Hardy. We went to it was a like hibachi. I don't know, remember which one it was, but he took us to hibachi twice. So yeah, it was
Okay.
either he or hibachi for the O line.
Which one of the guys on the line can do the most damage to a dinner tab?
Ooh, oh man. Mm. I have to give one to Dominique. He can put down
Really?
some food. Yeah, he can eat a little bit. Curtis is another guy. They're gonna see this and laugh, but yeah, those two have some food.
Yeah, yeah. Who kind of was who do you feel like, and this is looking back a few years, but who was the guy that kind of showed you the ropes here and kind of brought you along?
Oh man, it was honestly Mike Maietti. When I
Yeah.
got there, got to travel my freshman year, was roommates with him. He was probably pissed, like, man, I got stuck with this freshman, but it did more for me than it probably did him. Uh, he was telling me like, hey, like, going in the spring of 22, like they're gonna be bringing transfer and like he's gonna compete with you, and like that's exactly what happened. So like I was like, okay, like he knew what he was talking about. So just being with a guy like him who's got a, I mean, he had more starts than I did, like 50 something. So like I did feel like I got to take a lot from him and how he kind of watched film. We watched film together quite a bit that year. So, yeah, Mike was a guy that kind of showed me the ropes when I was pretty young.
All right, got a couple more for you. If you could change anything about your time at Missouri, is there anything you go back and change?
Like how like a game went out, or like I mean,
Totally. I mean, here's my answer for you. The 12-team playoff starts 1 year earlier, right? Because you guys
yeah,
would have been in it.
23, yeah, in 23 of the 12-team playoffs, like we're easily in. You know, Shoot, I mean that I didn't play because I just got hurt, but that South Carolina game, if they can end up winning that game, like they end up in the playoffs probably that year. And I'm not playing,
Yeah.
but like that's probably the closest we were to getting in and didn't. I mean, I guess in 25, 23 we were 5 or 6, but knew we weren't like getting in. But yeah, I'd say I mean 24 that you win the South Carolina game, you probably get in. That would be
Mhm.
even play, but that would have been awesome to see.
All right. So last thing, he can't make you run anymore. Like, give me a good but okay for YouTube Eli Drinkwitz story from your career. You got it. You got a good Coach Drink story.
Man, there was one day, oh, he we were running the bleachers and he was giving a good little spiel, like you're not gonna see the Lamborghini on sale, like the high dollar uh items in life are, they're not gonna be at a cheaper price. You gotta pay, it costs what it costs. That's what he said. And then he just turns and blows up on somebody. It's kind of ironic now. I think it was Marvin Burks, but he loses it, and he was like, "And you were in last," talking about running. And I just honestly, I hadn't seen him get that mad in a long time. But an earlier one was we used to do these skits, and he was talking about how it was in 22 how guys needed to take their cool suit off, and so we do these skits and people get and they just write on cool suit. And I mean, people were just grilling him left and right. And that's probably the funniest moments is like he'll give it out, but like he can take it too. And
Yeah,
that's it all funny and jokeful at the end of the day.
that's good. That's good stuff. Well, Connor, appreciate it, man. Good luck. I'm sure we'll catch up with you at Pro Day, and I know everybody wants to follow along. And hey, there's a lot of guys you played with in the league, and I'm sure everybody's rooting for you to join them.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, have a good one. That is Connor Tollison, now former Missouri Tiger center, up in Minnesota, training for the draft. We're going to catch up with some other guys, trading messages with Dalen Carnell, trying to get him set up next week, maybe trying to get some of these guys that were at the Senior Bowl. It's a good off-season thing to just kind of catch up and give you guys some insight to these guys that maybe you don't get week to week when they're standing up at a microphone and a podium and all that, and maybe not even that in some cases. So appreciate you hanging out here, watching with us. Like, comment, share, subscribe on the channel, all of that. Like I said, hope to do some more of these coming up, and we'll talk to you later on.